there we go. So, yeah, just based on some of the things I saw from Eduardo's recordings, just in some of the general requests, I want to look at a little bit more in terms of the power in the legs and the arms. But I also don't want to, hurt anybody while doing it. So I want to make sure we're warmed up properly. So we're just going to start with the upper body like we normally do. So we're just going to start with a head roll forward. So it's just side to side coming through the front. So getting a nice neck stretch. And I'm just going to change the view so that I can make sure I'm spotlighted for you. I always forget that bit. There we are. And that way I can tell if you may actually have a chance of seeing me or not. And just rolling the shoulders. So nice deep circles. And forwards, or backwards if you were going forwards. And just a nice gentle spinal rotation. So you can let arms float freely.
Okay.
And then the hips, so just some circles, starting off small if you need to, and getting bigger circles.
Oh, yeah.
And light here keeps fluctuating, so I'm going to set up the other light. I won't be a second, so just keep doing the hip circles in the meantime. It's always hard to know how much light I actually need in here. So hopefully that'll stabilize it a little bit. And the other way if you haven't already. And so just standing on one leg, so this is our supporting leg, pull up. Our weight is based on that side leg. Going to do some gentle hip circles. So just trying to open it wide, so getting a nice opening in the hip flexor. If it's anything like mine, it's probably going to be crackling at you right about now.
Makes funny noises, yeah.
Yeah. And then coming the other way. And changing legs, so going backwards. So pulling up strongly through the supporting leg. Just gives you a chance to work on your balance and strength there too. And the other way. All right. Knees, so just so toes facing forward. Basically feet underneath the hips. I really want to focus on making sure the knees are going in line with the toes as they come down. So it stays in that alignment. The knees don't go out or in. So even if you need to look down just to watch, make sure they're going in exactly the same line over the toes. So kind of the bony part of the knee, the patella going over the big toe. And just depending on how your feet are shaped. So that's roughly the area we're after. They should just feel like they're driving straight forward. All right, just some little circles, just gently. And the other way. All right, coming onto the ankles, so just some gentle ankle rolls. And the other way. The other foot. And back. We're going to do a little bit more leg warming up. So both feet pointing in one direction, feet split. Again, making sure the knees are coming directly over the toes. So all we're doing is kind of like a mini lunge. So we're not coming down deep. We don't have a wide stance. It's quite narrow, so kind of just outside your hips. We're just gentle bend. The back heel can come up if you want. And all we're doing is just warming up these legs a little bit more. And again, trying to focus on making sure the knees are driving straight forward in the same direction as the toes. And changing sides. should be pretty warm by now.
Yeah.
So we're just going to do a little calf stretch. So again, both feet pointing in the same direction. We're just going to keep the back leg straight, the back heel on the ground, and just kneel forward.
Right.
Getting a nice stretch up the back of the calf. So you should be feeling it up the top in the meaty chunk of the calf. And then pressing back, and this time bending both knees. So what it's going to do is aim a little bit lower into the leg, into the soleus muscle, which is kind of inside and lower. So just both knees bent on this position. And all right, changing sides. So both legs straight, back heel on the ground, and then just kneel forward, keeping the back leg straight. And gently come and bend in the midst of both. Okay. Just pressing feet into the ground, so toes going into the balls of the feet, the sides of the feet, giving them a bit of a warm up. While we do that, we'll just get our wrists a bit warmer. So basically everything's having a bit of a wobble, your wrists and your ankles. Just gone a little bit jelly-like. There's the arms behind the back, arms facing towards your back. I'm just pulling down with the shoulders and out. That'll give you a nice chest stretch, a bit of an arm stretch too. And arms forward, coming the other way. So palms facing toward you. You can bend your knees and push out your back to get a nice spinal stretch. And release. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the power that we need for driving our footwork forward. So a lot of time we don't have a lot of trouble with the driving forward. We do have trouble with bringing the leg with us as well. So a lot of the time when we do footwork, you'll see, and then that sort of slow drag with the back foot. So what I want to do is just a little bit of, not quite plyometric training, but getting the power from the back foot and then getting in the habit of pulling that leg in with you. So all we're going to do for an exercise, so feet both facing in one direction. I know this is more of a kendo position, but that's okay. It's more about the driving forward. You can angle it a bit more out to kendo, Tankendo or Kendo position. Either is fine. So if that's the case, it'll be slightly angled out just behind you. You want the heel up slightly so that you're pressing into the ball of the foot. And all I want you to practice doing is using that leg to push you as far as you can. Just one hop, one step. So just taking your time, do a couple on each leg and then swap over. So keep going with those. But what I want you to start thinking about is as you push off from that back leg, think about trying to pull that back knee into the front knee so that what happens when you move forward is that knee is immediately getting dragged to the front knee, if that makes sense. So I'll try and show you slowly. So if I'm here, it's hard because my pants color.
Okay.
So if I push up from here, but as I do so, I think about bringing that knee to my front knee.
Right.
You can see how it's coming. It's coming closer than we'd like, but that's still better than it not coming in at all. We can always adjust its position. So again, this is just kind of one at a time. We're not trying to do multiple in a row. I really just want to focus on, okay, here's this position. You can, as I said, start in Kamae if you want, and then focus on that push and then bringing that knee with you.
Yeah.
So just one at a time. So do 3 or 4 on each leg and then throw on one leg and then swap over. Or if you're finding a bit much, just, swap each one, whatever you need to do, as long as you're getting even workouts. Now start trying to incorporate the fumikomi with the front foot as well as you come forward. So it's the push, the knee come forward, and the fumikomi all together. What it should be helping you do is actually keep your balance centered over that foot by bringing that other leg in.
Yeah.
When you finish your last set of evening it up, just give it a bit of a stretch, a bit of a shake out. Are you feeling like it's coming in any faster at all, or a bit more controlled?
Yeah, I think thinking about it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically about just training that muscle memory in. And to a degree, the further you go, even if you go further, you know you can at least get that far. You can always start dragging it back a little bit later on.
When you say bring the two knees together, are you talking about side by side, or are you talking about one coming up and being sort of almost sitting in behind?
No, so more for this particular exercise, it's more about bringing them from one back here to one
just
next
up
to it.
to beside it.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit behind because that you're coming back to stand. But it's just thinking of bringing that knee through that'll help bring that leg in a little bit quicker, I tend to find. Because otherwise we tend to go and then that drags because the toe's still coming along with us. But if you're thinking about trying to keep the knees together, and one good way of doing this is if you have like a resistance band, like a circular one, and this is a pain in the bum to do, you can literally put them around the knees. So from here, and just practice that same motion.
Just like that.
Yeah. So it's another good way of just checking that you're coming back to a reasonable distance with your footwork.
Yeah.
Because you can't leave it behind there because the band's going to want you to pull it in. So the more tense the band is, the harder you'll have to do it
some other time.
And that's fine. But I said that's just one good way of having a bit of practice with that. To try and get the muscle memory to remember to bring it with you more than anything else. All right. So that all said, is there anything particular you would like to see tonight? Jukan, Tanken, Jukan and Tanken?
I think we've done Jukan a couple of times, so maybe some Tanken. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. All righty.
Been a while.
Never hurts to
That's my fault.
A bit. Why? Not your fault at all. I like Tankendo too. All right. So again, just roll out that wrist. Make sure it's nice and warm before we start. In fact, we'll do it on both wrists. And then kind of palm prayer position, and use your elbows to help warm up the hands here and the wrists here. So just pressing here. If you want, you can also try the prayer flip. You do this one slowly, and it's basically just stretching out the forearm muscles a little bit more in a slightly different direction. So just be careful with this one, but it can be quite good for just waking up those muscles.
Yeah, I've never tried that before.
So coming to the tip of the fingers, so trying to pull back a little bit more on one hand.
Yep.
And then the reverse. I quite like using other things to do this with. Oh wow, that's a strong stretch. All right, another hand, pulling it back. And forward. And for this one, it's basically coming from this position here, just rotating down and up. We do use that motion, especially when we come to Harai.
Right.
It's more of an angle. So, this is just a straight down.
Yeah.
Coming straight forward. And then you can do kind of an angled cupping a bowl. So here's my bowl of soup. You should start feeling it warming up on the inside of the forearms there. Like really weird hand gestures. I'm sure this probably means something in sign language, and I don't know what, and I just really hope it's nonsense. So shake it out.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So next little exercise I want to do is, bringing the elbows into the sides of the body, palms facing forward. I want you to roll your shoulders, drop the shoulder blades back so they're staying pulled down. And I just want you to keep everything tense and push the arms out. So feel as if you're pushing against something, like there's something holding down your biceps to your body. And again, if you've got an resistance band, there's no reason you can't just tie yourself up in it. So what we're really working is this powerhouse here. And so you can do this just by pretending there's a resistance. It's surprisingly effective.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of mimicking some of the movements we use for Tankendo and Tankendo. So Tankendo do and the Tankendo ski. There's a bit more rotation there. So this is still warming up those muscles just gently. I'm going to turn both hands over now so they're flat to the ground. So same kind of thing. You're not likely to get to straight from here, that's fine. But you should still be feeling it in those upper arms. Now I want you to kind of rotate them in. So the palm is kind of coming a little bit in as if you're wringing a towel. And again, the same kind of motion. So still pulling down in the back and the shoulders. And just release, roll them out. Arms feeling warm?
Yeah, right there.
Elbows should be fairly good, but let's just give them a little bit of a bend and stretch forward. Because as a joint, they tend to get highly abused by all of us. Fake bicep curls. And then just rolling around from the elbows. And this one's going to feel and look a bit weird. But again, we're just loosening up that joint. Down the other way. I'm like skipping very badly with an imaginary rope here.
I was never good at skipping.
So that I'm doing wax off or wax on. I'm not sure which movement. All right. Okay. Let's have a little bit of Tankendo time. So just starting with do, I just really want to focus again on that nice clean movement. So again, always making sure that we've rolled the shoulders back and down so it's nice and strong in our shoulder blades. Pulling our belly button into our spine so we've got a nice strong core. Squeezing the butt in. So basically this is like this tight little squeeze box of muscle. And that's what helps keep us square. So just doing a Dortski, single step forward, squeezing up through here and trying to drive that back knee forward with us as we do our steps. So in your own time, Dortski. Yup. 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 Take a rest, roll out the shoulders, let the knees loosen up. This time, you can relax things a little bit more. So you don't always want to be this tense. This is just a good way of working the muscles into the right position. So roll the shoulders back, soften the knees, breathe in. So keep it all in that position, but you're not focusing so hard on squeezing it all in. There's still a little tension, but it's not tight. So, and again, just do it again. Hajime. Go. 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 Two more. Go. Go. How are you feeling?
Yeah, not bad. Yeah.
How do you feel your technique? Are you feeling reasonably relaxed in the body?
Yeah, I've just got to take it easy with the push off on that side, but
Okay.
other than that, it's all right. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I keep forgetting which knee it is that.
Yeah, I just need to drive that foot forward rather than out to the side, and I think because I did too many of those at some stage, it's done some work, done some mischief on one side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
it's mostly the driving.
So rather than the foot out this way, I tend to drive it straight to make sure it's all in alignment. Yeah.
Look, it's not the worst thing. It's a bit more of a kendo stance, but again, if that's what your body needs, it's what your body needs. I am not going to have an issue with it. And to a degree, it's a little bit safer, especially if you've got knee or ankle problems, because at least you're driving everything in that nice stacked alignment.
Yeah.
So whatever you need to do with that, that's fine. All right. So let's have a look at menute. So careful with the elbow joint. That's one that tends to get abused quite a lot. Right. So we want to make sure that we're not hyperextending it. You don't want to go too far. You want to get to that point and squeeze so that we're not jerking it into position, which is always a bit of a danger. So again, just pulling up through the body, roll the shoulders back and down, left hand place. Menute. Hajime. Two more. Roll it out. Roll out the elbow just gently. I'm not sure. This isn't the robot. It is. Well, I guess it is kind of the robot.
Yeah, the robot.
Kind of move. Yeah. Let's do the robot.
It looks like playing snooker.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe playing snooker. Yeah. I was never good at the robot. To be honest, I'm not really good at public dancing. So there we go. All right. So when we were working on the wrists before, that was more for Harai. So let's have a look at a few Harai techniques. So centering your position. And I really just want you to focus on, so if we're coming from the left, just pushing, so kind of loosening the lower fingers to draw it back. So you're throwing it back into the palm. And then you can snooch into position. So this is not full kihon. Full kihon's a bit more involving the elbow.
Oh, yeah.
But this is really what we want to get to. We can go from here to snap. Here, snap. And then coming from the right. And this one, it's coming back towards kind of between the thumb and the forefinger. In my case, it's aligning quite nicely with my right shoulder. The nice thing about this is if you don't involve the forearm too much, it means you're going to come straight back to where you started. So you don't have to deal with potentially coming over too far. Which again, you know, for kihon, if you're showing off kihon technique, it's a lot bigger. But getting the wrist and the fingers moving. So the wrist isn't doing a huge amount when you're coming from the right. That's more the fingers. But the wrist is going to be doing the tsunuch or helping with the tsunuch. So coming from the left, again, you get a little bit from the wrist, but the more you can get this coming from your fingers, the less stress you're going to put on your wrist as well. Yeah. No stressing out our joints is basically what I'm after. Yeah. So this one coming over the top, this is something we see a little bit more with kote and men, so suarete, so coming over the top of weapon and above, down again. So if you can see yourself in the camera even, it's a case of kind of coming over to the tip of your head and then coming down the other side. you're creating like a very small teardrop or reverse teardrop around your head. But when we're doing it for men, that really all that's happening is that we're coming above a little bit higher. So you might get more of a sweep and it'll be more of a, potentially more of a circle at the top, or a wider raindrop, as it were. But the technique is basically the same. So flicking, sweeping beside it and around. And relax that wrist. Give it a little gentle roll. Even just do a kind of a jazz fingers. Stretch out those fingers. Lots of dance terms today. Jazz. All right. So let's go through and do a few Nodal strikes. So basically, obviously, same pretty much as Do. We just have a slightly higher angle. Make sure, again, this isn't overextending. It's not locking sharply. That's more about the tenuch. So I know previously I've kind of said, you know, lock the elbow. A better description is contract the muscles, I guess.
Right.
Because obviously we don't want to hurt the joint. What we want to do is squeeze everything, which has pretty much the same effect as that lock, but it doesn't involve the joint snapping into place as such. So even if you're just holding your, or not even holding it at all, I want you to think you're just trying to grab someone's jacket in front of you. So, and you'll notice if you try and use your whole body, so they're about to fall off a platform, and you're just trying to grab them so they don't go anywhere. So you need to tense up that arm all the way from the shoulder through the forearm into your tenuch. So that's more of what we're after, rather than, and this is my bad for using that analogy, and it's mostly because it was the best analogy I had at the time, which is locking the elbow in place. I want you to lock all your muscles in place instead. So from the shoulder all the way down to the wrist. So don't do Nodal, and just focus on trying to bring that back foot in if you can. Hajime. Yeah, two more. Roll it out. Okay. So, best combination for all of these? Daiichi Kyoshu.
Oh, yes. Yay. A good friend.
So, indeed. So, Do, Men, Nodo, Kote, Haraitsuki. Again, if you don't have room, just do one on the spot, move back if you need to. Otherwise, try and thread them together. So focusing on pulling up through the body, nice long line, check your footwork. And remember, it's all about tensing all the way through the arm on the strike. Hajime, so Do, Men, Nodo, Kote, Haraitsuki. Anash. Anash. One more time. Roll it out, both sides. Just checking the time because I'm really bad at keeping an eye on the time. Alrighty, so let's trying to think what's a good technique to work on. Let's run through a couple of the kata using the tanshinai, so that we're feeling it with the tanshinai weight. Let's have a look at number 4. So I'll act as the uchi. I'll get you to act as the shidachi. Do you remember which one number 4 is?
It ends up with nodal, I think.
Yes, it does.
And it's
That's
right.
right.
But how do we get there?
Okay, so
yeah.
Tell me what number 1 is if you can remember. Remember what you put me?
Door strike, I think. No, nodal. Just straight in. Yeah.
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird. I'd have thought it'd be a do strike too, but apparently that's too basic to have as part of your kata. They do as nodal. So my assumption too would have been do, but no, it's actually nodal. Nihome. What's the next target?
Men, and then push back. Yep.
So what's the third basic strike?
Third one is coming off to the side and no, that's 4.
Third basic target. Yeah. What? Yes.
What's
the third basic target? So we've done. If we assume ball was just
yeah.
Basically the first 3 are the basic targets. If you just assume that they've upgraded do to nodal. I don't ask why.
Yeah.
So nodal, men, kote, and kote being a newer one as well. It's easy to get. But yeah, you'll spot on. Number 4 is stepping off to the side.
Stepping off to the side, right.
Yeah. And the person who gets to do do here is the uchi. So the uchi is the person who does the basic strike first.
Gotcha.
So can you remember what kamae will come in?
Most of them. No, this is both in Chudan or kamae, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Perfect. Because when we walk in, it's the most natural thing for me to then go do, because that's normally how we do things. So chudan, a little bit of a gap. I come in for do, at which point you
step off to the right and strike down and then in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So it's a harai coming off to the right. So the harai matches timing with the right foot, and the left leg matches timing for the nodal, which is where it gets a bit weird. But it's also something we do normally when we're just coming straight forward. As soon as it becomes kata, we get a bit weird about it. So we both start in shura no kamae. We come in 3 steps. Ich, ni, san. Yep.
Yeah, my timing was pretty appalling, but
I can't tell because I'm assuming you're just working off the timing here. Yes. Good. Yeah. 1, 4, and 6, I think it is, are the only ones that we do the big step back. Ich, ni, san, shi. And again. So ich, ni, san. Yeah. Done. And withdraw. Done. So I know a lot of people have trouble with the footwork and timing for number 4. We're just going to spend a little bit of time on that, just so we can get used to the movement. Because when we're doing it straightforward, we have no problems. So if we're in Shudan, and I went harai ski, it's quite natural to go harai ski and bring the back foot up with us. So let's just practice that version. So we're just going straight forward. We're in Shudan. We go harai, right foot, and harai ski. So harai ski. Harai ski. Ski. I mean, generally, when you do it, you'd probably do the harai and then do the footwork. So this is kind of a variant again. So many variants. Because technically, if you're here in Shudan and you're both at my, really all you do is go harai and then ski. This gets broken up a little bit more in this one in that we have the harai ski. But if they're outside of mine, this makes sense So if you imagine they're half a step away, I'm harai to get to tsuba and then into tsuki. So yeah, and this one, imagine perhaps there may be a step outside of mine.
Just straight in these ones, is it? Still
Yeah.
Hey?
Just straight in. So this next set, we're not, all I want us to do now is just step off to the side. So we're not trying to rotate it in, we're just moving directly to the side. So instead, because for some reason you've got another person there, you've got one person here, one person there. Slam those out of the way, stab that. Two more. And relax. So now we're going to go on. Oh, I went really dark there for a second.
Yeah.
Okay. This one we're actually going to try for the rotation. I think this is what tends to throw a bit of people off, is the harai at the side, and we're rotating inwards, or outwards rather, with our back legs to get that angle on them. So we're trying to imagine, oh, where's my, see if I can pull this one out without too much fuss. Yeah. The amount of equipment I have down here is surprisingly handy. So here's my partner as such. So I'm online with them. I've gone harai. There's no point me going out here, and there's no point me trying to do that either. So harai is key. I want to come around the side of them. And I said, I think that's where people tend to get a bit lost with the footwork.
Does that back foot end up behind?
No, you don't want it to cross over.
Yeah.
If I did that, that's probably my bad. But so it's
still out
that way.
Yeah, gotcha.
But it's out here.
Yeah.
So you don't want to cross the center line. But if you're using me as the target, so we're standing straight on, you do the harai. And you're just making sure that you're still aiming it at me. Right. And that's all it is. So you have to imagine a target pretty much stationary. So you can see their harai, you can see their nodal. So those 2 points stay there in your vision. And you just need to rotate the hips as you step out. So this is kind of a step out to the side here. And then you need to bring the left hip back. So pulling that left hip back to rotate you around. So see if there's a better way I can do the lighting on this one. So there. You want to think about pulling that left hip back a little bit if you can. It'll help generate some of the power for that movement. Or that's another good analogy. Think about pulling your thighs together, so that whole resistance band notion again.
Yeah.
Oh, good thing this is a different color to my pants for once. So if I'm going here, it's much easier if I'm thinking about the legs being drawn in together. It just wants to come around that way. So yeah, this is a good one to try with the resistance band on, just so you can feel that the leg's coming in with you. All right, let's do number 4 again. Alexa Zuchi, both in Shudan. Ich, ni, san. Yo. Good, that was a nicer angle. Get done and withdraw. All right, let's have a look at numero 5, Gohan, Gohome. So, uchi,
yep.
shidachi.
Yep.
Ich, ni, san. Yeah. Good.
Now, do I advance on this one?
You bring it down to here.
Yeah.
What can you remember what comes next? Yes. Perfect. You come back into Jordan. And then we come back to center.
That's it.
Nice. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Once more. Oh. Good. You're done. And withdraw. Number 6. Can you tell me what kama we start in?
We're starting for number 6. I think are we back to Chudan?
Yes, perfect. Perfect. And this is the start of the Irimi Seitai set. So both in Chudan.
Yep.
Ich, ni, san. So what's going to happen here?
I think I push you across there, then you push back a bit.
Yep. Yes, the reaction. That's it. Yep.
There. And push down. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's the one. Nice. Get done. And withdraw. We'll do that one again. Ich, ni, san. No. That's right. Good. The instinct is there, which is good. Get done. And withdraw. Done. All right, number 7. Can you remember where we start?
I would have thought it was the same thing because we go the opposite side, but
you're right about us going the opposite side, but we do start in different kama. And this is one of the weird ones. This is probably the weirdest setup.
Right.
And it's one you're unlikely to see.
One of us has got to be in Gedan.
Yeah. So if I'm in Gedan, where are you? What would make it weird? What would be? But Gedan and Irimi is pretty standard, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what would be the weird combination here? If I'm in Gedan.
Oh, we're both in Gedan.
Yes, perfect. This is the only time you ever have us practice both in Gedan. So Gedan it is. Ich, ni, san.
Push you to my left.
Yep. I step back. I stab low.
Under.
Yep. That's it. Good. That's the one. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Back up. Down to Gedan. Ich, ni, san. So I step out. I come in. You rotate your wrist and block. Come underneath.
There.
Good. And withdraw. So number 8, where do we start?
Oh, so I think I'm
so mean when I do this to all of you.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I should know it by reading the book every so often.
Cool. So what were the other 2 Irimi Seitai? The first Irimi Seitai was you pushed where?
To the right, and then the second one was to the left. This one's down.
Third one?
So
yeah.
you're in Gedan, I'm in Chudan or Irimi.
Irimi. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the one. Perfect. That's the bunny. All right. Ich, ni, San.
So I'm going to push down.
And I go, I don't like that.
So I come in there, push that back.
Elbow. Good. Get down. Withdraw. Chudan. I start in Gedan. Irimi. Ich, ni, chan. You pressure me. I go, I don't like that. I go, ready for men. You grab, get my tsuba or my wrist, get my elbow. Stab me to pieces.
Put it back up there. Yeah.
Yep, good.
And then
yes, and control my weapon on the way down. Perfect. Get that. Withdraw. Good. You did really well with those. Yeah. I mean, especially the Irimi Seitai, I think those 6, 7, 8 are the ones that are really easy to get confused. But yeah, you had those nicely. So I think once you knew where the position started, everything else flowed on from there. That is a word, yes.
Flew on.
I can't word today. I don't know. Ever since we started in lockdown and I stopped having to talk to people all the time, I can't word. Wording is hard. But how are they feeling? Are you feeling comfortable in?
Yeah, no, they're good. Yeah, just my timing and remembrance, and
Look, your memory of them is much better. Your instinct for them is really good. I can see your body wanting to do the thing, and I think part of it is you're holding yourself back because you're not sure that's what you're supposed to do. But generally, your instinct is spot on.
Right.
I can see, like with number 6, I could see you going to do the harai, and then you're kind of overthinking it almost.
Yeah.
But the intent was there, the motion was there. So your body knows what to do. You know what to do. It's just, again, when I throw these kata at you kind of point blank, it's a lot harder to be sure of what you're doing. But they were all really pretty good. You know the patterns. And I think once you remember which one it is, you're fine. Yeah. And that's the same problem everyone else has as well. So you're not alone.
Yeah.
So ippome, what are we aiming for?
Ippome. Noro.
First basic, yes. Nihonme, second basic.
Men.
Yep. Sanbonme.
Sanbonme, kote.
Yep. Number 4. Yohome.
Nodo again.
Yes. How do we get to Nodo?
By harai. Yeah. Yep.
Harai Nodo.
Aye.
Number 5, Gohome.
So pushing to the right, we're looking to, it's an Irimi Setai do.
Number 5.
Oh, 5. It's we're going for men. Yeah, yes. Starting in you're in Jordan. Yeah. And I'll be in Irimi Setai. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah. No, you're spot on for where you're going with 6. You just forgot number 5.
Yep.
So number 6, which way you're pushing?
Pushing to the right.
And we start in.
Come to the left. Pushing down on top of the suba, and then coming to the elbow, pushing to the elbow, and attack door. Yep.
What kamae do we start in?
For the next one or that one? That one.
For number 6.
Number 6, I think both in Chudan.
Perfect.
Yep.
Number 7, what do we start in?
Both in Gedan.
Perfect. And you're pressuring which way?
To the left to let you to come to the right, and then angling down the that thing.
Hanshinai.
It's not just you.
None of us can word anymore. I swear, when we get back into practicing face to face, I'm going to be standing there trying to remember the commands to start anything. Like it's just ski, isn't it? Yes.
We'll just stand there for 5 minutes looking at each other vacantly. Yeah.
I'll just turn the audio off so no one can tell. So number 7, that's fine.
Yep, blocking there, coming in under the arm and extending, coming into
Irimi Setai.
And the last one.
Number 8.
You're in Gedan. I'm in Irimi. I push down or focus down. You withdraw to strike men. I come straight in, blocking the weapon, exchanging to grab the elbow, and then striking door, and then swapping hands again, and then withdrawing that hand.
Lefty. The lefty.
Yeah. The one that's potentially going to get cut off.
Yeah.
And withdrawing. Yeah.
Actually, that was one thing, and I was going to mention this to Eduardo, so I'll probably put it in the chat. If you get a chance to have a look at his videos from the other day, they actually tried to do some Jutaitan.
Right.
GI.
Yeah.
And one of the things I was noticing there is that his partner, who was on the Tanshino, he was letting his left hand off all the time. So he was trying to grab the Mokuju when he hadn't secured the weapon.
Right.
And I think it's actually a really good example of seeing why I'm so conservative about that. Like I'm always saying, it stays on the hip, it stays there until you've got it controlled and you can bring it forward. I think it's worth watching. I think it's the 3rd video in his links. Because it just shows you what happens when, especially when people get GI, or if they're not confident or not used to it, that left hand just wants to drift off. It just wants to grab things. And that's an instinct that you really have to fight against. So I think it's worth watching it just to see that in action, because there'll be a few points where going, I'm glad that's not my hand out there. I don't think he got hit at any point with it, but there's a lot of times where I'm going, I could just see that going very badly. So I think it's worth watching because it does help remind you what the left hand is supposed to be doing, which is pretty much just staying on your side because it's gloveless, and only being used when you're absolutely sure you have control of their weapon.
Now, makes sense. Look, as a teacher, if you were running a class, you could just, if you saw that happening, you could give it a little love tap. Just
you could, but I would be so afraid of scaring anyone for ever trying Irimi safe again. But as I said, it's a really good visual reminder of where your left hand is supposed to be and what you shouldn't be doing with it, which is grabbing blindly or grabbing in the hope that you've got the other weapon controlled.
No, and I think you keep it out of the way.
I think, and look, when you're doing Tantaitan, that's less of an issue because it's still going to do damage. You're still going to break someone's fingers. I'd say if you slammed it hard, which can happen in Shiai. But I wouldn't want to get the full force of the Mokuju on the fingers or on the wrist. It's just kind of a nightmare scenario, or even coming into the crook of the arm. It's one of the reasons I've never really done Jutaitan with anyone here. I want people to feel really comfortable with Jutaiju and Tantaitan.
Fair enough.
Particularly in not taking that left hand off.
Before, I'll have to have a look at it. Just to remind myself of the set of techniques.
I think it's really well worth watching for that. Look, I love the enthusiasm. I love the fact they were throwing it. They were trying things. But there were a few moments where I'm going, my hand is aching, and he's not getting hit with it, but I can feel pain just from that visual. And I mean, look, it is something I'd like to try with you guys at some point when we're back together. But I think it'd be something very slow where I'd be doing it more as a Hakare Geko. I think it is. I'm always really bad with the Keiko terms, but basically where I'd be opening and gently encouraging.
This was in a type of Shiai type of match, was it?
A little bit more like yeah. So this is where I go, okay, I want people to be very I want to be very confident in their not letting that left hand loose. Unless you really are sure of the control. So it's worth watching. And I'll send Eduardo a few notes on that as well. So other things. It's the kind of thing where I'd want the person who's the Uchikata with the Mokuju to be very careful with their motions until someone's
Oh no, I thought you meant it was almost a kata that they were doing, and it was
No, not exactly. No, I mean they may have been. I was flicking through it fairly fast. So I did that kind of between when I finished work and session. But it was very much a case of if they were trying to do some of the jutai tan kata, they were doing it at quite a high speed. And so I could see him trying to do the grab in between the middle of the two hands on the mokuju a couple of times, but the control of the weapon I don't feel was there, and that's the kind of thing that makes me a little bit leery sometimes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You got to control the weapon before you get the other hand involved.
Well, I'd love to do the jutai tan in bogu at some point at a little bit more speed, just so we do feel that that combination. But again, I'm so aware that this hand is completely unprotected. I mean, it's the same thing when you're in mokuju; it's a completely unprotected. But no, actually, no, it's got the glove on. It's fine. Yeah. I'm saying the right hand is just in the shino. But again, it's white back here. The chances of it getting hit in Jukaiju is pretty slim.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, absolutely. I have rambled a lot.
Oh, no, that was good. Thank you very much for this evening. That was good fun.
You're welcome. You looked really good. You know your kata. You're just still having a little bit of time to process which one it is.
Yeah.
And that took me a while to get through that stage as well. I mean, there are plenty of times here where I'm standing here going, I hope they just think I'm breathing while I'm telling myself what the next kata is.
No, all good.
Yeah, you're doing fine. So give yourself a little bit of a stretch out. I put up a new video today, which is upper body stretches like 9 minutes long. Yes. So if you just want to roll out the back and the shoulders and have a bit of a breathe, that's a good start. But otherwise, just stretch out anything that's a little bit tight and anything we've kind of used. So yeah.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's good to see you, and I'll see you online.
Okay. See ya.
You take care.
Bye. Bye.